It's August 1st, 8:09, and you're in my indoor garden where I grow food inside my indoor apartment. Hopefully the videos won't come upside down, but please take in mind that I am new to YouTube, well, as far as recording my own videos is concerned. But this is just an overview of my tomatoes, my squash, and my more squash growing inside with the cucumber and a pepper. We're doing a little multi-layer gardening here. And then I have my sunflower experiment. These are supposed to be different colors sunflowers. I'm not sure how big it's gonna get or if it's even gonna flower because it's in a soda bottle, but it's a bit of an experiment. Plus, I've been thinking about trying another experiment as far as going sunflowers outdoors, but that hasn't gone so well. In fact, I'm actually on damage control. I meant to mention this the other video, but I was kind of having a reset moment because I had a self-imposed drought. I mean, as you can see, my garden's indoors, so any drought is going to be man-made. But anyway, the point is that now I'm just in damage control because I have a lot of important things coming up this week. But I already feel a little bit better now that I got my list done, at least my priority list. That always helps me feel better. Even if I don't do the whole list, just prioritizing and just writing the stuff down and getting rid of my mind helps, especially being aware that there's more important things to be had. These are my fingerling potatoes. I'm probably gonna move them back where they were. They were against the window. Hold on. But they were against the window, leaning there, and I didn't realize that they needed support. But I'm gonna put them back. Ideally, it would be better for me to actually just stake it up, but like I said, I'm in damage control. And part of that means that that list is not gonna get all done because it's actually a 2-page list. And this is pretty much just the priorities as far as what needs to happen in order for me to be able to get to harvest and for me to be able to harvest salad greens more regularly. Because while I do have it being a little bit clustered does affect how often I get my greens. And I have Swiss chard growing, which needs to be by the window, and it's doing well there. And then I have my dino kale that never becomes dino kale, especially if it's in a soda bottle and it's been sharing room with other plants. I went from having no Swiss chard to suddenly having Swiss chard everywhere. And then that's my other potato. That red flower been in that half of a beige flower pot right here. But I don't think that they're gonna grow well, but I'm gonna be harvesting those soon enough as far as those 2 bins there. And then I have these, bear with me. I have beans right here. They have been slow growing. A lot of stuff has been slow growing because it has less light. So it's just an experiment. I may do another experiment with growing them against the windowsill, but we'll see about that. It just depends on what I have energy for this week. And then I have marjoram back here. That's pretty good. It smells beautiful. I haven't had a chance to cook with it too much yet though. And then I have my aloe vera, my good faithful. As you can see, it's drowning in water, so I got to do something about that. Plus, it keeps growing so many pups, it's ridiculous. I have like at least 4 different pups, so I've been putting that off on the list, and that's the new spot for the kale. We'll see how that goes. This brown stuff came before, so that's not really nothing. The part where it has new growth is growing pretty well, so that's all I'm concerned about, although I don't like it being up here because it's not really convenient. I'm thinking about moving it down here. And then this is something that just volunteered last year. I'm not sure what it is. I've called it a currant. I should have some that is closer to, here we go. It turns purple, but I just call it a currant. It's edible. It doesn't require too much light or too much water. and if it goes down, it just pops right back up. And it's one of the few things that actually seems to like the grow lights. It doesn't seem like a lot of stuff that I grow like the grow lights. And oh, speaking of aloe vera, that is just onions that I just green onions that I was supposed to transplant, but that got caught up. Anyway, I'm growing some more spring onions anyway, though, from what I bought at a produce store. That's what that is me regrowing stuff that I buy from the store. But anyway, then those are aloe veras. And then that is stuff that I need to, dirt that I need to use to transplant stuff. I'm thinking that the potato spot, hold on, I was working my way over here. I'm thinking that the potato spot would probably be best, but I have to harvest and see if there's anything in there. But I'm not really optimistic because these fell over. These were like my initial growing experience. So I'm gonna just dig those up and see what happens. And then this is more Swiss chard. I'm thinking I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and reduce the Swiss chard because it's so picky, and I'm not really crazy about that anyway. And then this is another sunflower. And then this is my tradition of growing cherry tomatoes upside down. I can see I got a few suckers. They just keep growing like crazy, but I really have to reduce them. It's kind of hard to do this and hold the camera and do it safely. There we go. Don't recommend it, doing it that way, but that's how we're gonna do it. In fact, just put that right there, and might as well just harvest that because that fell off. That's a Swiss chard. It's not bad for the size that I usually get. If I put it in the flower pot, it'll grow bigger, but that's more for the peppers. And then this is the, what is it, the red tomatoes. They're actually finally doing well. I've had a problem with tomatoes this year. Usually I would have already had tomatoes. I started later this year, but I had things set up in the permanent home sooner, if that makes any sense. But it's been difficult. Like, that was supposed to be tomatoes, but as you could see, some of those dropped off. Thinking maybe they was mostly male. But yeah, it's been a hard year, so that's another reason to make sure I prune. But I can't prune without propagating because it's just my thing. I feel like I'm killing the plant even though I'm helping it, so I just propagate a bunch of stuff. And that's why I'm the tomato lady. But I'm glad to see that these are growing flowers and they're growing out. Although I've had cherry tomatoes that's been in that stage for the longest. But if you saw the last video, also the first video, which I did in duplicate, you'll notice that things are changed about. I put the tomatoes in the front and moved the cart back in order to be able to have space to grow. Oh, by the way, this is a cart that I actually found at the at my end of the block where I live. I've been saw this, but they was using it as garbage, so I just retook it and just used it to garden, although I have to fix it up. But that's the thing, there's always stuff to do with the garden. So one of the survival methods is to have like a list and maybe even a garden calendar to know when to expect things and to get to the harvest stage. But anyway, this is my cucumbers. That's another thing that's been like a little bit difficult, but it seems like it's growing more now. So we'll see. I don't know how clear it is because it kind of looks blurry to me. My camera's a little bit iffy. I'm using a phone with this. But the point is that I'm growing the cucumber. It's whole main variety, botanical interest. And I cleared it out because it had a volunteer cherry tomato plant and a volunteer currant. So I took those out, but then right away I had to add in the beets that's been growing for like months now. I think I finally got at least one root, so I'm gonna have to deal with that. And then this pepper plant that's growing in the side. And then you got the squash. The thing is that I bought these plants and they always come with too many for me, I mean, and I'm not close enough to like a plant swap or what have you where I'm at in the Bronx. It's literally easier just to go to Manhattan than it is to go to other places in Bronx because I have to go downtown to go up to the other side usually. So it's a bit much, but I'm working on that and figuring that out. Otherwise, I also got Black Krill, which has been doing pretty well. I haven't gotten anything off of it yet. I definitely had to string this up with more bamboo, but that's on the priority list. But we'll see. It's been dealing with a lot between my health problems and having a lot of issues with the housing and what have you. It is a bit tricky, but this is the realest that you can see a garden being, except this has to actually go up here. Shoot, I'll put it up there later. It's just usually I put them up here. I've even had cups of compost inside the top of that, and I just water it directly from there, but that's helped a lot. So I've got to just work on that more. Oh, speaking of which, that's a part of the issue, although it's not really a big issue, is that I'm low on compost. In fact, I can't even find my other bottle, and that's causing some issues. Although with that, I just keep refilling it and just letting it sit there for a while and stew up as much of the food compost as it can. But yeah, basically this is garden and damage control. And speaking of which, let me focus on the outside garden, my sriracha peppers. If you saw the last video, you know they're exactly where they were, except I flipped them over to the other side as far as turning them around. But yeah, otherwise the same. And then the most development is with the strawberries. This is the everbearing that I bought as plants. I got 2 out of the 4 left, and I got them as baby plants, so it was $1.50. Although they cost me $3 ultimately if you think about the price. But it's been very interesting. It suffered a little bit from the drought, so you'll see some stuff in there that I already cut, because I meant to just do a quick watering and then just do the video, but you know how that goes. You start doing one thing and next thing you know the scissors is out and you're cutting and stuff like that. So I just did that really quickly, and then I have that tomato plant that I've been wanting to give away, but I've just been a little bit busy. And then the peppers that are doing a lot, although it seems like I can't just trust the plants to be pollinated outside, so that's a little tricky. And I say that because I've noticed uneven germination. Like, I don't even know what happened here, quite honestly. It just looks ashy. Like something got at it, like maybe it got, yeah, something got at it, maybe a bird or something, because I do get a lot of birds here sometimes. My cat even actually caught a bird somehow. I came home and there was a dead bird inside, which I can't understand because the only window open was the other window. So, well, in fact, this was open too, but it had a screen door and there was no hole in the screen, but whatever. But anyway, these are experiments from regrowing strawberries from like the store, and raspberries and blackberries. Nothing is happening to them. I just checked them yesterday and earlier when I wet them. But I have them wrapped in plastic, and then I have them in Tupperware because that's my one of my damage control moves, although it's pretty standard for me to have Tupperware or aluminum foil in order to catch extra water for when I water too much, and for it to be there when I don't water. Like, to a large degree, my strawberry plants have been watered by the rain that we've been getting the last few days. We've had some days where it's rained really hard out of nowhere, then just stopped. So that's basically been collecting. So that's like one of my tips, that and plastic bags when you're